comes back. Last section, radical equation, an equation that has a variable in the radicand or in the variable in the rational function in the exponent. So you're going to have to use all the rules that we've basically learned right now. So let's do example 1. Which equations are radical equations, why or why not? So, which one looks like there is no radicals?
A and B.
A and B have radicals, so yes, that is the answer. What about the last one? What about C? Is that a radical? No, I don't see anything. What about D? So it doesn't look like there's physically a radical there. But remember what we learned in the very beginning of this chapter. If there's a raised to a fraction, this really means the cube root of x plus 3 squared. Remember when we did those conversions from one to the other? So yes, D is a radical equation. Any questions? Okay, awesome. So to solve a radical equation, you already, again, learned this, so I'm not going to go over all of it. But you first determine, is it even a radical? If it's not, then you don't have to do anything. Then we isolate the radical, leave the radical all alone, and then we solve from there by using our inverse operations. So let's look at the examples. Look at this. The radicals alone. There's nothing on the outside of the radical like this guy is. There's nothing on the outside at all. So it is isolated. How do I get rid of a square root? What's the inverse operation? What did you say? Okay. How do you get rid of a square root? What's the inverse operation that we learned? What did you say? Squared, yeah. So I'm going to square both sides. Remember when we did that? And then the radicals will cancel. So maybe after this one you'll see and you'll remember kind of. So remember the radical disappeared. You're gone. So I'm left with x plus 6. What is 3 squared? 9. And look at that. Look how easy this equation has become. So we're on 11.6, huh? Oop, that's supposed to say 9. Now what do I do to both sides? Subtract 6. Very good. And that is gone. And what am I left with? X equals 3. And you're done. Questions? Comments or concerns? Okay. The only new thing that we do have to do is just check our answers because sometimes it doesn't work out. But we'll do that in the next couple ones here. Look at B. They're set up pretty much the same. What do I do to both sides because the radical is isolated? What do I do to both sides to get rid of the radical? Square it. So nothing's different. Squaring both sides. We get rid of the radical. In order to get rid of a radical, you square it or cube it, depending on what the index is. So I'm left with 5x minus 9 equals what? 121. That's if you just multiply it by 2, Jalen. Now we solve, so go ahead and solve. I think you can take it from here. Let's see how you do. You're just solving for x. Solving for x. We just had a whole entire unit on it, so hopefully you remember. Remember before the unit last chapter, I said you're going to need to know how to solve pretty well before you get to chapter 11. Some of you are staring. X equals 26. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and add 9 to both sides. And you get 5x equals 130. Then I divide by 5. And when you do that, you get 26. Perfect. I don't ever use keys, so I never know the right answer right away. Questions on that one? Please ask. If you're like, where the heck did that come from? You need to ask me, otherwise I think you're doing fine. Okay. The next one. Take a look. The radical is not isolated. Look at that. If I were to highlight this, the 2 is still here. We have to move it before we can do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides, and that's gone. What you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other, like always. And this is what you're left with. Now we're back to what we just did on the first two problems. How do I get rid of a radical? I square it. If the index is 2, I just square it. You always got to look at that index. So the index is 2, so I'm going to square it. Here the index is 3, so I would cube it. So whatever the index is what you're basically doing. You're raising it to that power. So I am then left with, because these cancel, 6 minus 3x equals what?
4. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, it is 4. You were right. 2 squared is 4. It's just not, I think you're thinking of 2 cubed. From here, you should be able to solve. We spent like almost a whole month on solving. So hopefully, I know it's a little bit a while ago, but try your best to solve. A lot of you got A's in that solving test. Try to really remember coming back. A's and B's. We had a lot of good grades in that test. Try to think, what do I do first? You got to isolate the variable. So what did you do first? Some of you are still working, so wait. Subtract the 6. That's okay. So you get -2. Please know it's okay to get fractions. It's okay. Or decimals. From here, I would divide by -3. So x is going to equal 2/3. Or, what'd you get? 0.67. Either one would be accepted, but on a multiple choice, it's probably going to be a fraction. So make sure you're able to go back and forth. Do you remember how to go back and forth in your calculator? Yeah. Yes, math enter. Very good. Okay, we're almost there already. So we have to isolate the variable. Again, I know it's been a while, but we have done this year. We did it last chapter. I need to do what to both sides first? I heard it. Not yet. I got to get rid of something first. Yes, -1. Gone. I'm left with the cubed root of x minus 5 equals what? -2. So take a breather, because a lot of you are kind of zoning out right now, and I really want you to focus, because this is the last section, and then we'll just be reviewing. So I want you to just get your last information in that brain of yours, and then we'll move on. Again, the best way to learn is to do them with me, not to just stare and copy down what I'm writing. Like if you're typing it in the calculator and you're actually thinking and responding, that's how you learn best. Okay, now the index is 3, so what am I going to do to both sides to get rid of the cube root? What'd you say? Cube it, thank you. So again, that index is 3, so I'm going to do the cube of both sides. When you do that, that gets rid of the radical, and that's the best part. So I get x minus 5. Careful when you type this in the calculator. Parentheses, -2, close parentheses, cubed. What do you get? -8. If you just do -2 cubed, it will come out wrong. It'll give you positive when it's not. Last and final step here is to do what? Gone. And you're done. Please ask questions now if you have them. Hi. We're just on 11.6. Go back and flip when you're ready so I know I can move on. Should be on that very back page now. Very back page. Okay, almost there. Now it says, if you raise each side to a power that has an even number in the denominator, we have to use plus or minus. Okay, so this is new. What we just learned just now was the same as what we learned when we were solving. This part's a little new, but not too hard. Let's practice them. I'll show you the first one. So, solve each equation. Check your answers. So, again, you want to isolate the variable. So here it is in yellow. And if you have a highlighter, feel free to use them. What do I do to get rid of that 7 to both sides? Because I have to isolate the variable first. It is multiplying, so what's the inverse? Divide. So in order to get rid of the 7, I have to divide. So I get x to the 3/5 power equals what number? 8. Now, I promise you that like what is this, what's going on? That looks confusing. We actually did do this, but we'll go more into depth about it now. Get out your calculators because you're going to need them unless you're really, really, really smart, because I even need them. So, calculators, no, not picking the hands, not staring at the wall, please. I just want to make sure you're learning because I know on the test you're going to ask me and I'll be like, you weren't paying attention. Okay. In order to get rid of this, it's not too difficult. You just have to remember the trick. You always want to take the reciprocal. Remember, that's just the fraction flipped. So when we flip this, we get 5/3 instead of 3/5. So this is what we're going to do to both sides. Raise it to the 5/3 and raise it to the 5/3. Why do we do that? Because look, these cancel and these cancel. Your calculator will do this for you. I would not expect you to do it in your head. So with your calculator, just do exactly what it says. And I'm about to get the calculator out. I'm going to do parentheses, 8, parentheses, caret. When you're working with fractions, you need more parentheses whenever you're working with fractions. So parentheses, 5 divided by 3, and close it up. Good, and you get 32. So please write 32. You're done. Question?
I got an error.
You got an error. You didn't put it in the power. Like the 5/3 should be up here. So let's go back
Oh.
up here. You want to go ahead and type in that 5 divided by 3. Okay. Cool. We'll get more practice with it right now. What is that? Okay. We have everything isolated because look, it's kind of like all of this is being raised, so it's isolated. So I'm going to raise both sides to what power? What over what? 3/2. Very good. And again, these are gone. That's the best part about it. So I only get x minus 2 equals something. So let's go to our calculator and type in 9 caret. You got to use parentheses when you're working with fractions always. Always, always, always. So 3 divided by 2. What do you get? You get 27. Very good. Did anyone not get 27 that wants me to check their calculator really quick? Okay. Ooh, what just happened? She's sick. Leave her alone. Poor Elena. Okay, so Elena was saying something. What do you got for me over there? Yeah. Good. Elena's done talking for today. Her voice is almost gone, and it looks like she's getting it. If you can't handle candy, then don't eat it. Let's go. No, I'm just saying in general, let's just keep going here. I don't want you to get distracted. C and D, we're almost there. I think these are we got a word problem after that, and that's it. Okay, it's isolated. I have a group. I have a full group, all raised to the 2/3. So what do I have to do to both sides? Raise it to, good, 3/2. 3 divided by 2. There's a lot of ways you can say that. These cancel. I'm left with 3x plus 4, and we got to type that in our calculator. Let's see, 16 caret parentheses 3 divided by 2, close it up, and you get 64. Now what? From here you should be good. Good. Subtract 4. Elena, you can... You're having fun? Good. Math's fun when you, like, if you really understand it. I love solving problems.
How about 20?
It is 20 because 60 divided by 3 is indeed 20. Do you have questions? Now, if we look here, right here in yellow, it's not isolated. Yes, question. Make sure you're using parentheses around your fraction.
Hot dog.
Oh, can I do this one?
Okay. That's okay. I have it on my computer. You forgot to care. You were just multiplying. Okay. So again, I don't know why it deleted it on me. It's not isolated. So what I have to do to both sides before I do good, I have to add 9 first. You can't do that until it's alone. It's isolated.
And then you get 27. And then you have to do 3 over 2.
It is 3 over 2
But you have to change it to 2 over 2.
to 2 over 3. Good. So in order to get rid of this 3 over 2, I have to do to the 2/3 power. I have to switch the fraction. That makes it go away. So I get x minus 4 equals what? Let's type it in. Oopsies. You get 9. I'm going to double check with you here and for those that need it. So 27 caret. Do not forget the caret, otherwise it's going to multiply on you. To the 2 divided by 3, and you should get 9.
Yeah, I got 9.
Then what? Good. And you get 13. Good job. Okay. Now we have this fun application problem, and we are done for today.
What time is it?
We're only halfway through the period. That's what I'm saying. So you're going to have a lot of time to ask me for questions, ask any questions that you have. Okay. When it comes to word problems, you need to really pay attention. We are doing SAT here in the near future. Probably next week, or not next week, that's the test week, the following week. Listen really quick. I took a practice PSAT. Wonder if I have it on me here. I do. And we're going to be doing it too. They're all word problems. All of them. Look at them all. So, I'm not trying to scare you at all. This is a practice one. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to prepare you. I'm trying to warn you that if you need to take these ones seriously when we do them in class because you're going to have to do it. I know you want to do well. Not all of them are. Only these ones, but like some of them are pretty quick. Not every single one of them are word problems, but majority of them are. SAT is harder than the ACT, but you get more time. And there's less questions. Huh? What'd you say? Majority of the states do SAT, and that's why Illinois has adapted it. Yes.
What state don't do it?
What's that?
What state don't do it?
There's a couple. We can look them up after we're done. My recommendation as your math teacher, if you can afford it, take the ACT. Okay. Because colleges will still take the ACT right now. Eventually they will not in Illinois. But right now in Illinois, they still will. Okay. The length L in inches of a standard nail can be modeled by this formula. So they're giving you a formula. So that's super important. We're probably going to have to use it at some point. So whenever you see a formula, that's great. You really just need to plug something in and solve. where D is the diameter in inches of the nail. What is the diameter of the standard nail that is 3 inches long? So, what is the diameter? What am I looking for, L or D?
L.
Diameter most likely will be D, and it also told you that. It says where D is the diameter. It tells you that. It's okay. And then 3 inches long. So 3 is L. We know that information. Well, we have everything, all the tools. Don't let this scare you. You have them all. Yes.
I was gonna ask if I could just,
Yeah.
do I just, yeah, the differences? It would be, 54 and D if there were 2, and that would equal to 3, but then you have to do 2 over 3.
Good. I'm going to stop you there. You are correct. So all we did, look at, here's the formula. There it is. Right there. We know L, it's 3. So I took 3, I grabbed it, and I put it where L is. That's it. That's the only thing we just did. Now we know how to do this because we just learned how to do this. You're going to get decimals, but that's okay. What do I do to both sides? Not yet. Hold on. Not yet. It's not isolated. Look. It's not alone. What else is there? Not yet. Well, I have to get rid of something first.
The D.
What's next to the D? Thank you. Divide by 54.
What?
So remember when we were doing things up here. So pause. Let's look up here. When it was isolated, look. This wasn't isolated, so we added 9. The one down here wasn't isolated either, so I had to divide. Now, again, you're going to get decimal, and that's okay. So I get D to the 3/2 over 3 to the 54. Don't even do a decimal, just leave it as it is. Question? Okay, perfect. 3 divided by 54? Did you do 54 divided by 3? It's 3 divided by 54. Okay, last and final step here is to do what all of you lovely people were just telling me to do. Okay? Is to raise it to the 2/3 power. So D is going to equal something. I'm going to show you again. The calculator can do all this magic for you. Type it in. Parentheses. Whenever you see a fraction, you need to put it in parentheses in your calculator. So 3 divided by 4. Close it up. Sorry, not 4. 54. Close it up. Come on. Practice this with me, please. Caret, because that means it's being raised to something. Another fraction. So 2 divided by 3, and you get this decimal. The SAT will take either the fraction or the decimal when it's a gridded response, and we will talk about that more after next week. But for the sake of this, we're just going to go ahead. Now let's press math, enter, enter. Math, enter, enter. Oh, looks like it can't be converted to a fraction, so we're just going to write it out. So 0.146. Let's just do that. 0.146. That is your diameter. Okay, and we're done. You still have 17 minutes. I know you can't see the clock, but if you look in the corner, it says 11:50. You have 17 minutes